Yo, what's up guys, Nanja here, welcome to another video. So this one's gonna be another question from my boardroom Noxie, and he asked me a few different questions. So the first question is, due to the popularity and dominance of the top ladder by Japanese/Asian players, the Asian community, is there actually a better time to play the ladder in order to dodge most of these players and climb easier? So I know that this is a question that a lot of people have, just because generally the Asian community are very, very good at ladder grinding. It's not uncommon for these guys to just, sit and play 16 hours a day or something just gross like that. And it shows, because you'll see a lot of these guys play way better than the majority of the population, and they're also usually playing aggro. Now, it is possible to dodge a lot of these guys. I promise you it's possible. It's gonna be difficult. I promise you it's gonna be difficult, because the Japanese community, or sorry, the Asian/Japanese community just vastly outnumber the European as well as North American players. Well, there's also the Korean players as well, but it is possible to do it. So for me, I usually try to play at whenever the Japanese morning time would be. So, as you know, a lot of Japanese players, when they play, a lot of them are on their daily commute and whatnot. And it is possible to queue into someone who needs to catch his next train. And if he's trying to catch his next train, he can't be being your facing, right? So sometimes they'll leave in a hurry and concede if it doesn't look like they're gonna win. I've been in a few cases where I place one on two or three or something like that. And my opponent is just oh, well, I can't do this. I'm just gonna skedaddle. The other time I like trying to play is during whenever their lunch break would be, because again, it's the same thing. They're on a time crunch and they got to get back to work, but I have time, and I can go ahead and abuse that. Now, to some degree, there is a right and a wrong way to do this. As much as I would try to advocate, doing the right thing. Sometimes, doing the wrong thing, sometimes it works. And one thing you can do is you can rope queue them. So rope queue is something that it's basically slow play, but in online games it's called rope queuing, partially because of Hearthstone. But basically you just play your turn as slowly as possible, just waste their time. It's like that popular online meme, whatever, the waste his time in 2016 or some shit like that. And by doing that, yeah, you're gonna be a dick, but most likely no one's got time for that, and they're just gonna concede, and you're just gonna get you those 3 points. Now, it is worth it to mention that if you are going to do this, you probably need to turn off your emotes. The reason why is because if for some reason they play it out and you lose, I promise you they will emote you to fucking emote hell, and you will feel bad. Alright. So the next question is, but before I get to that one, I should also throw out that the worst times to play are during the evenings, because they have time. It's not uncommon for people to stay awake to 4 a.m. or something like that, just playing this game, because some people some people just grind this game. And the other worst time to play is on the weekends. Do not play on the weekends. I promise you will have a bad time. It's not worth it. It's not or rather, if you do have to play on the weekends, just accept that, okay, I'm going to face a lot of Japanese players, so I need to try to figure out exactly what they're on, so this way I know what I need to play on. So a really important thing that goes into this is that a lot of the Japanese play Dragon. Dragon is their most played class there. It's Dragon followed by Shadow. And as a result, you need to be playing something that does well versus Dragon. The other thing is that in addition to Dragon, which is usually their mainstay number 2 craft, the number 1 craft will usually be whatever's broken that month. So for right now, what's broken is Haven. So you need to have something that works for neutral Haven and Dragon. Otherwise, probably don't play ladder unless you just want to have a bad time. or unless for some reason you're like forced to do dailies, in which case I'm gonna pray for you, because that's not fun. All right. So his next question is, during master point reset for every month, would it be recommended to climb sooner rather than later? Okay, so for this one actually varies a little bit, because generally you do want to try to climb a lot on that first day. The reason why is because you don't want to get like discouraged. What I mean, well, you don't want to get like easily discouraged like immediately, which I know sounds counterproductive to what I'm about to say next, but it was true. Like, because on the first day you see a lot of people just like play and grind or whatever. This is also gonna be when you see the most like skilled like Japanese / Asian community like playing. But the reason why you do this is because if you're good at playing aggro, because aggro is usually is usually the best deck right after the start of a patch, or right after the start of the start of a season reset. If you're good at aggro, you're gonna be fine there. Like, if you're not good at aggro, I would definitely go ahead and like wait a little bit. But I do think that you should do it a little bit sooner rather than later, because for some people like me, if you're a procrastinator, you could easily just procrastinate until like the 20th, and then you have to like play like a ton of games if you're trying to like climb into like top like 10k or whatever, which to some degree is usually around like I want to say 6 to like 8k points, maybe something like that. But if you don't have like the mental fortitude or like the mental stamina or whatever to play all of those games that you need to like play each and every day, then that I would definitely climb sooner rather than later, just because like it takes the pressure off of you. Like, because even for just you people that just want your like 12k rewards or whatever, even for you guys, it equates to about winning like 3 and 1.5 of a game or something like that every single day in order to get your sleeves. Like, it's actually like 4 games. I lied. It's 4 games. Yeah, winning 4 games to get your sleeves. But like, the more days you procrastinate, the more games you get to win overall. Like, don't be like me who waited until like the 25th of, or was it the 25th? Yeah, who waited until like the 25th of like last month, before deciding that like, okay, I want points. I really want to get those sleeves, and then had to play like for like 6 hours or whatever one day. Like, sure, I had fun, but if you don't have a good deck, or you're like not confident in like how good of a player you are, you're gonna have a bad time. It's gonna make you feel frustrated, and you're just gonna be like, well, fuck this game. Like, and that's not obviously where you want to be, because you want to be able to have fun with this game, because like this game is pretty fun. Like, you guys can complain about the meta or whatever, but to some degree this game is actually very, very fun. Well, I guess fun is subjective, but like, by my opinion, it's pretty fun. But yeah, so again, the too long didn't read for that would be, if you know you're gonna procrastinate, do it sooner. If you know you're good at aggro, do it sooner. But if you know you're bad at aggro, do it later. The reason why you do it later is because usually some form of like mid-range or like control deck arises to counteract the aggro deck. Like right now, for this meta, that deck would be Control Blood. Additionally, if you play Dragon, you can usually like make that work as well, just because Dragon is just like a mainstay, like pretty like good stuff sort of deck, because like it pretty much holds the same niche that Control Blood holds right now, and that like it specifically is the control deck that usually beats aggro. Well, it usually beats aggro if you draw well. I guess I should clarify that as well. And then for his last question, the occurrence and probability of matching up against a better player is higher during score reset every month. The idea is, should I start playing immediately or wait a bit before climbing? So for me, like I said, when I started like playing on like the 25th of like last month, when I started like really playing on the 25th of last month, just because like I usually don't play ladder that much. Well, ever since I started like making videos and recording, I usually don't play ladder that much. I mean, I guess I never really did in the first place, partially because like stuff like that doesn't matter to me that much. But ever since I started doing that, like I usually kind of like my like ladder play overall decreases in like how many games per like month I'm willing to play. And to that extent, like I do think that that's generally better to try to wait a little bit before you start to climb, because if you have a high win rate, I guess if you have a high win, if you have a high win rate, it's not going to matter much either way. But if you have a higher win rate, you're going to be fine. But if you have like a lower say win rate, that's going to be a little bit better to wait a little bit before you start to do it. Because if you think about it, if you win a game versus someone who's higher than you, and for like the ease of the math I'm about to use here, we're just gonna assume that you beat someone who's worth 150 points to you. So if you beat someone who's worth 150 points, that's basically like saying that you just played and won a game and a half. But if you lose to someone who's higher points than you only lose 70 points. That's like saying that you lost like 1/3 of a game, or sorry, that's like saying that you lost like 2/3 of the game, which is perfectly fine in my opinion. And overall, like it means that like that you're allowed to have a lower that you're allowed to have a lower win rate overall if you can just like consistently keep beating these 150 point players overall. Like for me, on the last day of the season, almost the last day of the season, I think it was like the 28th, 29th, I think. The majority of the people that I played against had like 20,000 master points or higher. So they're like very, very high up to my, like, I had like 1,000 or something like that. Was it 1,000? No, it was close to like 2,000, 3,000, something like that. And I beat them. Like, I think I only dropped like one game to one of them. And I like, so I was playing for like 6 hours. So I know I played at least like 30, 40 games. So that's like, say if you multiply that, say, assuming it was like 40, if you multiply that by like 1.5, that's 6,000 points gained. And then if you compare that to how much I'd be getting if it was just 100 points per game, that's 4,000. So 6,000 to 4,000. So I made a net gain of 2,000 extra points. So that's 20 extra games I didn't have to play. That's pretty huge in my opinion. But yeah, so definitely, again, to reiterate, if you're a very, very confident player and you know they can maintain a, say, 60% win rate, or at least a solid like 55% win rate, then definitely, play whenever. It's not going to matter to you. But if you know that your win rate is maybe, say, a little bit lower, like maybe say like 40% or 45%, well, one, definitely watch more of my videos. But jokes aside, definitely go ahead and just wait a little bit and then start trying to key into people, because again, like it all right, so for this game, to some degree, how good you are of a player doesn't matter. Like, I can be the best player in the world and still lose you just because you open up like 1 2 3 4 Alice into Hector and some other bullshit, and you just cheese me out of the game. That can still happen to anyone. And if you're lucky enough that can like happen for you, you can like beat some like people who are higher up in points than you, if you have at least like some like semblance of like what you're doing, and you can get points up by. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and leave a like if you did. Let me know what you have. Yeah, let me know what like tips and tricks that you have for dealing with like ladder jitters and whatnot down in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.